All right, now let's talk specifically about the 7 characteristics of Greek drama. This, by itself right here, is going to be a quiz for you. Greek drama is set up very differently than stories that you see today. It's very different than movies that you watch today. It's even different from Romeo and Juliet, which is technically considered modern, opposed to this ancient stuff. So the first characteristic that we're going to look at for Greek drama is that you need a lot of exposition to understand it. What is exposition? It is background information. You need to know all about the characters. If you go to a movie and sit down today and your buddy's already seen it and says to you, okay, listen, you need to know that this character's great-grandfather was involved in this situation, and that when he wears this particular hat in this particular thing, that this is going to matter to your character. At some point in that explanation, you're liable to elbow your friend, tell them to shut up and let you watch the movie. If, in the case of our story, you do not know the character's great-grandfather ticked off a god and got the entire family cursed, you are going to miss major information. So for Greek drama, you need a lot of background information. The second thing that you need to know is that Greek drama keeps death and violence off stage. Now, with that said, these stories are about the ancient Greeks, and if you know anything about the ancient Greeks, you know that they were not peaceful people. They had wars and battles and conflict all the time, but they kept the death and violence off stage. So if they are indeed very, very violent, how do you find out? Characteristic number 3. They use messengers to tell off-stage events. So you may not see the death and violence. You may not see the murder happen, but you're going to have somebody who did witness it come to the front of the stage and tell you in the most graphic, gruesome, horrible way what happened where your eyes couldn't see it. Because think about it, they would not have technology like we have technology. They wouldn't even have plastics to create some of the special effects. But what they did have were their words, and they could create horrible images inside of your mind that you just couldn't get at that time. 4. The time of action is continuous. The time of action is continuous. This is the word that you need to hold on to. If you are familiar with, I'm sure that you're familiar, I'm sure that you have seen a movie like this. Let's just say, for example, Frozen 1. You've probably seen Frozen 1. In Frozen 1, you have this cute little scene with these cute little children, and then you have their parents involved in this terrible accident, and the screen fades to black. Then the screen comes back up, and it says something akin to 3 years later, 5 years later, there's been a tremendous jump in time. That's never going to happen in Greek drama, not ever. From the start to the finish, there are no jumps. If something happens off stage, a messenger is going to fill you in. But from the start to the end, there are no giant breaks in time. 5. This is easy. There is one setting, period, the end. If you start on the steps of the palace, you will be in the steps of the palace in the middle. You will finish on the steps of the palace at the end. You're never going to go anywhere but the palace steps. With that said, if a character goes inside, the messenger will tell you what's going on. But it has only one setting. All the characters will come there. 6. All Greek drama is based on myths and history. All Greek drama is based on myths and history. So the ancient Greeks knew exactly what was going to happen to pretty much all of the plays that they went to. So why would you go if you know what it's going to, how it's going to end? Well, for the same reason that I went, and don't judge my age, for the same reason that I went to go watch Titanic when I was in high school. And I went to that movie, even though I knew the ship was going to sink. There was no way they were going to save the people. The ship was going to go to the bottom, but why did I watch it? Well, I wanted to watch the special effects. I wanted to see how the actors delivered their lines. I wanted to see that giant budget that James Cameron was working with. I went because I wanted to see how they put it together. The same thing would work for the Greeks. And finally, for number 7, we are looking at your protagonist. We are looking at your main character, and we care very much about 2 of his traits. We do care about his psychological and his ethical traits. We care how the guy's mind works. We care about his ethics. What does he see as being right and wrong? We care about that. We do not care at all about his physical traits. I mean, he could have like 7 fingers and 2 toes, which would be very weird. But we don't care about that. His physical traits do not matter to us. We also do not care about his sociological traits. That's how he gets along with others. We don't care about that. We care about his psychological, how does his mind work? And for his ethics, what does he justify as being right and wrong? Because what he justifies as being right and wrong, I don't think that we're going to. So these are the 7 characteristics of Greek drama.